How y'all doing today? Doing all right.
So, what's happening on defense or not happening as you look at it and you see the, passing yards, just the yards in general, points, all that?
When you look at it, it's one thing sometimes like every play. One, we had good rush, no coverage. One, we had good coverage, no rush. Or was in a bad situation, was it a bad matchup? It's a lot of different things play a role into that.
I know we talked to Coach Bowles a little bit about it, but that middle of the field, it was vulnerable for you guys against the Falcons and then this past week with the Ravens as well. Bowles talked about communication, but is there any other aspect of this that you can pinpoint as to why teams are attacking it with success?
No, big thing about defense is you have to communicate. If somebody's pulling you out, somebody else got to pull over. The communication is key, and we just got to, some things we just got to play better. It's like you sit here and like, that was a pretty good call that ended up not working out to your favor. So, and I think we give up a 59-yard bomb. He probably should have been sacked before that bomb. But it's always one thing. That's kind of the story of us right now. We got to get out of our own way in some sense.
What have you learned about the Falcons offense since the first time you played them and so recently too?
Right. The thing is, the more we watch them playing them, they had a lot of carryover in the running game with the new regime that from the years past. But the thing you see now is that in the passing game is the yards after catch. You know what I'm saying? They catch and run, and that's kind of what I heard. A 5-yard pass become 18, and those things just kill you. It's just the thing is they're going to catch some balls, but we got to be able to knock them down when they catch it, and that's kind of been our problem.
Defensively, I know it's only 3 weeks ago, but you didn't have Kalijah in that game. You didn't have Twan in that
Right.
game. You didn't have Jordan at the end of the game.
Right.
How much different is it when you're not at full strength by any means, but when you're at the level of health you're at right now this week?
No doubt. I tell the guys all the time is there's starters and backups in this league, and you're a starter for a reason. When you're missing some starters or guys you deem as starters, there is significant drop-off at times. Now, the key is that your backups can sustain till they return is the key for us. So we had some guys that have stepped up through the course of the year, but we just got to keep going. But now that we have our guys, most of our guys starting to come back, especially on defense, is kind of, I would expect our play to increase.
If you didn't have Tyke on Sunday, it feels like Izzy is one of the, in terms of backups being close to the starters, one of the closest, the least drop-offs you'd have.
Well, the thing is that we look at that because that's what we talked about early in the year, the versatility. Izzy played safety. He finished one game at corner, and Nick played all nickel for us last year. So we have a lot of confidence in him, and he can wear a lot of hats for us.
I know in talking to Todd, like when you got Jordan back and you had Wynn, obviously you felt like communication's taken care of, right? You got one guy on each side. You
Right.
look at their production, and I know Wynn has missed a lot of time, but I think they have like 4 pass breakups all year. Like they're not really being a factor in the pass game. So is it just like you said, combination of pressure versus coverage that works together?
It all works together, and it's just so many little factors. Then getting them playing back together because Wynn missed significant time. Jordan sometimes is strong now. He's playing strong and free and moving it around. It's just like as we see it come back together, you can kind of see the picture as we might have envisioned it pre-season like other night. Now you got Wynn back, and he adds to your pressure package in which he showed us. It's the same as we get more of our guys back in the continuity. We expect to see things get better.
I know Jordan struggled against the Falcons, and he had some struggles against the Ravens as well. What would you kind of chalk that up to? Would it be, like you said, the fact that he was moving around and having to play kind of both, or physical? I mean, I know he had a minor injury earlier. I think it was a groin.
Well, it's a couple of little things like technique-wise that everybody can improve on, and when you look at his play, it's just a couple of technique things that we can improve. It's definitely not up for us losing confidence in him by any stretch. So it's just some technique things he needs to clean up, and we'll all get better going forward.
Kirk Cousins has had a lot of success in those 2-minute situations at the end of games this year against you guys, as well as in overtime.
Right.
What makes him so effective in those?
Well, he's extremely accurate with the ball, and he's a poised, seasoned guy that's seen a lot of stuff and knows where to go with the ball and makes good decisions. It's just like, that's probably why they went out to try to acquire him in free agency because really this year, our game, he took them down and won, and the game right before us, Philly, I believe, they took them down and won. That's kind of why you want those, what would they call franchise quarterbacks, because they change games in the end.
Coach Bowles doesn't always like to talk about the names or principles behind some of the exotic defensive looks, but that first drive Monday night, you guys had one look where you had a five-man front and a single safety, and Joe was almost like a stacked linebacker. Just want to ask you about that as a wrinkle and what it does to throw an offense off.
Well, going into that early on is just, the thing is, we try to scratch where it itches. Going in, especially those guys last week, they were a really big 22 team, and we like to call it, they had a lot of plays where big guys hit little guys. We wanted to make sure big guys hit big guys. So we just really try to scratch where it itches and go from there. But then we have some guys that are pretty flexible or versatile from that standpoint.
I know that early on, you guys had the back-to-back sacks to open up the game, 10-0 start.
Couldn't ask for a better start.
But just, they punched, you counter, but then it's like they countered some of the adjustments that you guys made. What needs to improve from that aspect to where, it's a continuation of what you guys started?
Well, the thing is, I told the guys, this is my 22nd year in this league, and one game this year we had a 17-0 lead. Next thing I know, we were down 3 before half. This game we were up 10-0. It's life in the NFL. It's not over to that last second. It's off the clock, and you just got to keep playing. And everybody has good players. You can throw records out the book. Everybody got first-round draft choice. Everybody got high-paid guys, and they expect to play. So any given Sunday. And for us, you get 65, 70 snaps, and people say, coaching attitude used to be one play don't cost you a game. In the NFL, it does. So you get 65 snaps, and you just hope one of them is not bad, and that's the way our life has been. So sometimes the thing is, the ball has to bounce your way sometimes. Last year I look at the ball bounced our way a couple of times. So sometimes you got to keep working and make the ball bounce your way.
And I know this defense has always kind of prided itself on being a tone setter. I know it's a little harder to do it early on when you were shorthanded a few guys, but when you're down Mike and Chris, just how much is your group kind of taking it upon themselves to be like, all right, we're going to have to be the difference makers this week because our offense may not be putting up 30 points.
Well, the thing is, offensively, we expect the next man up, but defensively, regardless of who's playing on the other side, we have a job to go out and try to do and limit them as many points as we can. So our guys kind of take pride in that. And, from looking at, if there's anything, and I expect those guys to try to come out and put a good effort after what happened in the last game, because that's really not the standard we want to adhere to around here.
That's what I was going to say. 2 out of the last 3 games over 500 yards. That's not what you guys have ever been about.
Never been about. So that's the thing is, that's one of the things we have to eliminate the mistakes, because the mistakes we're given is massive. It ain't a 15-yard. It's 51, 80. We're getting some major deals in situations where, and from a coaching perspective, you're in some pretty good situations where we're not executing. So that's why we got to get it all cleaned up.
Because of the tempo of the last time he played the Falcons, Bijan Robinson only had 12 carries. He did average over 5 yards a carry. After giving up so many yards to Derrick Henry last week, how do you look at stopping Robinson this time?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough task because it's a different kind of animal. You're coming at you both of them are explosive guys. This guy, Dijon, he can so many ways, inside, outside, catching the ball, this and that. So we'll definitely have our hands full with him.
Anything else? You talked about how there's a difference between starters and backups. Last year, KJ Britt was a backup. This year, he's been a starter, but there's been struggles. What have you seen from him, and just what is his role and potential still going forward?
Well, the only thing with KJ, things different. What we saw, the NFL is a matchup league. We got to do a really good job of matching our people up accordingly. We know what he is as far as the run stopper and kind of what his role is, and then we got other people to do other jobs. So that's the thing is, we just got to keep cleaning him up on doing what he's good at.
How confident are you in the coverage from your linebackers?
I totally have confidence in our linebackers and what they do and what we ask them to do. We just got to do it better.
Would you find somebody else to use, because you had Savasi obviously who's out for the year. Is there a chance that you could find another linebacker or somebody on the field? I know, you're missing a guy right now, but that could match up in those sure passing type downs and
well, the thing is, going into game plans, we look at it differently, and like we say, it's a matchup league, and really sometimes we try to match it up the best we can.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. See y'all.